Well, hello, my darlings. Back now for our final look at Penelope. And look at all this yumminess. Lovely. I'll explain about these now. First thing I want to say is a massive thank you to Rach over at Rach and Bella. What an amazing team of people over there. Absolutely brilliant. The 100 Days Junk Journaling Ideas are following along. So my first ever collab video is up now on my channel. That was to make the walkabout for Penelope. If you've not checked out the challenge, please go and do it. Penelope was made using the Billet, I can't get that right, Billet Doux Love Letter kit from Rachel, which can be found over at her website. Put a link for that down below. So we've got a sort of finished Penelope. I've come to a point in her where I think, right, she needs to go on to a new home. So I like to create what I call a muse book. So this is going to go as a bundle to her new home, and I'll explain a bit more about that in a moment. Before I go on to her, I want to explain about the folio and how that came to be. When I finish a book, I am like a human tornado, and the flotsam and jetsam that's left over on the table behind me is, oh, so I have to hit that point where tidy up time now, tidy everything up, and then things I feel can be a creative muse for the future owner, I try to put together in a folio of some kind. So I'll put the clip up now for the folio, and then we'll move on to do a little bit of a walkthrough. So thank you ever so much, Rach and Steph and all you other beautiful humans over at in Rach Mella's group for your support and encouragement. So on to the folio. Back in a tick. Right, here is the freebie folio that is going to accompany Penelope. I didn't film making this. It's really, really quick make. I'll open it up and it'll make sense. It's just one long length of wallpaper. So I've cut a length of wallpaper. I folded that bit up. Left a nice big flap on the top. On the sides, I've just accordioned a piece of cardstock and gave it a bit of ink. So that's glued nice and secure on the inside, on both sides, so it opens up and gapes open a bit. I scored, I don't know if you can see that on camera, along this top edge. See if I can get it to show up. Yes, no, maybe. I've put teeny tiny score lines along, say, the top, inch and a half going down there. So that top has got a sort of rolled effect then, like you see in file folders. I've stuck a button on there, stuck a button on there. Bit of that leather cord that I used on Penelope, and on the back of that button on the inside and on the back of that button I've just added a bit of extra scrappy cardstock for strength, and it's going to hold the string in place where I've stitched the button on. So since making Penelope, I have been like a human tornado around this room. And so I'm trying to tidy up towards the end of Penelope. So to fill this folio, I've got lots of offcuts. There's some tea-stained envelopes in there, offcuts from the kit that are too pretty to go, some of the napkin offcuts that I have that I didn't use, a random bit of embossing, that handmade paper, a couple of pieces of vellum. That was cardstock that I tested that folder on, doing the toilet roll example. So yeah, there's just some random bits in there of paper from my stash, offcuts from the kit. In here, when I cut up that photo album book, it had those lovely aged vellum pieces in it. So I've put a piece of that aged vellum there, and a piece of that music tissue paper there, ran it through my laminating machine, and just chopped the top off. So you've got that aged sort of vellum vignette on the top and that on the back. So more fussy cuts have gone in there that I didn't use. That is going in the folio. Let's go ahead and stuff it as we go now. But no, I've got to get the room put back together now, because before I even begin to think about anything else. So those can all go in. And again, not things that I would throw away necessarily, but I'd like my books to be a sort of muse, creative muse for the new owner. So they've got stuff to play with. That was my original book plate. I had to go chopping it up. Somebody else can have a go completely chopping it up. It could be used as, because originally I thought, do I go back and add these in as book corners? Because it's a smaller amount of bling there, isn't it? Or perhaps that as a smaller book corner. But that could go either way, really. Or get trimmed down even more. So I'm not going to throw them away. I am going to add them in. And if the future owner doesn't want them, they can go. Here I've got, these are the only two pieces of this fabric that I had left from the process of making the cover, so they can go. Perhaps somebody else's creative muse will take hold. I had two button clusters that I'd planned to go in there that didn't really happen. There's a random middle lace there. So those can go in. They're all sort of in the same color palettes. There's two wax seals there, one in pink and one in blue. So those can go in. And then, I'll explain about these. I keep a random little picnic basket, little titchy tiny one it is, full of bits of plastic packaging. I don't keep any plastic cellophane that doesn't fit in this box. If this box is full, it goes in the recycling. So, but when I'm doing stuff like this, I take all those scraps that I had pulled out planning on using, but perhaps didn't. I go through them, you know, other larger bits that I want to keep, smaller bits that can then be a muse for someone else. So there's just loads of little bits of fabric from the cover, tea stained lace, some of that, and a few small pieces of that antique lace in there. That's a bit that was cut off of a piece of clothing from a charity shop. Different types of lace, a bit of netting in there. So that can go in. Here I've got some wood reliefs, some faux pearl things, a butterfly, paper flowers, more of that pearl stuff. There's some white rose petals in there, so that can go in. And that one is all the teeny tiny, can't see it through the cellophane, can you? The teeny tiny bits from the kit that I didn't use. So they're cut out, they're ready to go. I fully intended, if I was keeping Penelope, yes, these would be properly collaged on. But my thinking is the future owner of the book needs to have that time to play. And this is perfect for someone who is new to this. The book is made, you know, there's interest on the pages. This is the chance to have fun and keep playing. So that goes in. And then this is a little bit of just kind of hardware kind of things. I've got a bit of pearl, some beads, interesting paper clips, little flowers, there's a couple of jewelry charms in there. There's all sorts of teeny tiny bits in there to play with. Some mini pegs, pearl dots, that kind of thing. So that goes in, and then there you go. There is a stuffed folio to accompany. Why is that side stuck out now? There we go. A stuffed folio of extras that will accompany Penelope to her new home. So, back and check. And that's the folio, lovely and stuffed, and completely stuffed. So, as a creative muse, there's lots in there to play with. There's things in there that the new owner may say, not for me. But if you were to buy a journal like this, you may not have anything in your creative toolbox or your creative stash that suits that color palette. But I know everything in the folio will suit in some way. So it's just a matter of providing that creative muse, I think, to someone else to play and have fun. So the folio can go off to the side a minute. So let's have a look at her. So again, the lovely chunky thing. And I did leave it long intentionally because when she's sitting on a bookcase, that's going to look very nice, dangling down. So there's the back then, of course, the stenciled fabric, and her front cover, which was my second do-over. I'd swing the tassel up out of the way for a moment, make sure I'm on camera. There we go. So I did go back and put a bit of matte Mod Podge on her photo. So I feel she's a little bit more protected now than she was before. So undo the tie. This is just a simple leather bracelet cord. And it's not permanently attached, it's looped. So a future owner can replace that with something prettier if they want. So I've got my Ex Libris card. I think I've mentioned that in one of the other videos, how I did that, using drop-in, filling the shapes in the word processing software with one of the background papers. And I think it's come out absolutely lush. So that can be written on. Waxed, I lost the word there, that gilding wax through a stencil on a few of these pieces with dyed paper on the back. We've got a flip out. Another beautiful image of her with some stenciling done with the wax as well. Backed with, this is what I call ghost papers. So these are the papers. I don't have one handy to show. I'm not sure I'll put them. The plain pieces of print paper that I clean my stencils on ends up with this sort of grungy effect. And because the palette was light with Penelope, the ghost papers have come out really nice. Wallpaper pockets. I've got my tuxedo tucks in there with the hidden writing spaces. So that goes back in. Something could be added to the back of that. There's plenty of room to play in this book. There's a plain airmail envelope there. Nothing in it. It's just an airmail envelope. And that is, what was her name? Melanie Crafty Landing? Yes, I think it was Crafty Landing that did the tracing paper. So that's a little folded up letter from that, because I've done a longer video on that because I put it in the Great Ugly Idea book. So that one goes in. I've got 1, 2, 3 tucks on that page. That's a piece of handmade paper. I've got that, oh yes, cardstock from my stash. This, I think, is from the kit, backed with a bit of lace-dyed papers. try not to be too long-winded here, but I want to show at least one full flip through. So that's been left blank. There's plenty of room to play. That's a pocket piece of stationery. Monet, I think that, yeah, meant to be. That's a flip out. We've got two removable tags there, backed with lace-stained paper. And of course that berry blue, or that denim blue, you get with using berry tea. So that's all stenciled. That's the toilet roll embossing. Some stationery. And that was the napkin pocket. So there's 1, 2, 3 in there. That's from the kit. Backed with paper. Bit of French paper from that Steph kindly gifted to me. That's backed again in that ghost paper. So that's just the paper I was using to clean my stencil on. So, but I really like the effect. And writing on that with like a bold black pen is quite lovely as well. So, postcard from the kit backed. Tall tag here. That's not from Rachel's. That was Margaret over at Seven Plaza. One of her neutrals, which I really like. And the pocket is from Rachel's. And another tall tag in there, backed with some paper. And again, around the edges down here, there's plenty of room to play. And of course, that was from the Victorian photo album book that I figured out how to chop up. So inside there, we've got her. Added a bit of something on the top and dyed paper on the back. But her sort of sliding in that sort of really lovely vignette. And that then has just had the not tracing paper, sewing paper glued down on it, and then some of that stenciling with the gold wax. I'm loving this sewing paper. Thank you, Steph. Another one here. I love that pattern doily. She's a little bit wonky because my printer wasn't happy with me, but plenty of room here to play. Now on this little page, that is a tuck at the bottom. This is watercolor paper. So it's quite thick and it's got that proper texture on it like watercolor paper, but it's had the gold sort of embossed onto it, if that makes sense. And then behind that I've got a tag, ghost paper on the back. And so what I meant, the ghost paper, where was that page a minute ago? Like when I was doing that type of stenciling, and I was cleaning my stencil in between on printer paper, and that's the kind of random ghosting that came off on the paper. But I don't throw those pages, I save them. So here we've got another one. Easily some of those any of those fabric remnants can be stapled to the top as a bit of interest. Room to collage here. Backed with some lining paper and stenciled. This one we've got stencil background, 2 tags in there. Sorry if I sound a bit rough. My sinuses are starting to play up on me again. I think it's pollen. It's that time of year. I'm turning it into my grandmother. Right, plenty of room there to play. Whole page to play with. That was the toilet roll as well. And we've got just a plain card with tissue paper tucked in there. Plain cardstock, bit of wax, stenciling, and really pale stenciling. So writing on that, or painting, or doodling, or collaging, or it's just a blank canvas, isn't it? So then this one vignette comes out from the side. She's lovely as well. I love the curls and the short hair. But now I've just got a bit of lace stuck on the side of that one. So she's a side tuck. And the beauty of this, I mean, somebody who may end up with this book may think, I don't like that image. But they can collage over it. They can take it out. They can throw it away. It doesn't matter. It's, it becomes your place to play then, isn't it? So, again, there's room here and on the back. plenty of room to embellish the top of this or staple things on. I didn't go nuts putting extra eyelets in or anything. Another not wallpaper, napkin. I can speak, I promise. Another one of those napkin ones that I made in the very beginning. Bit of card in there, another blank airmail envelope. Tall one here with a wallpaper tuck, tall skinny one. I'm not sure where that paper came from. It was in my stash over there, probably secondhand de-stash. So that isn't a flap, it's an envelope. There's a bit of posh, this is actually really nice stationery paper that's in here. Found in, you can't see it on camera, but there's this ever so faint sort of botanical image, like watermarked onto the paper. But it's very nice stationery paper. Found in the Salvation Army. Just paid something like 10 pence. Because they get half-used stationery kits in, and they just put them in a basket, and like 4 for a pound, or 10 pence, 20 pence. Wallpaper side tuck, and that was one of the napkins, and some ghost paper, and that was the ghost, that was ghosting from cleaning off the stencil when the wax was on it. And you can still write on it, because when I'm cleaning the stencil, I'm rubbing it with a baby wipe onto that white paper, so it's all quite washed out. So plenty of room here to play, and here to play, and here to play. More of the embossed toilet roll, a piece of that handmade paper with just the flower petals in it. I need to experiment more with that. This was my little bit of a collage on the front. I'm not great with collage. It's something I like to do, but I just need to do it more often, I think. A tag on the back, but then that has got the hidden journaling card inside. And I did that for the Great Ugly. Takes a little bit of a wiggle to get back together, because I've put the lace on there to disguise where it's been sliced. But I think as a journaling card, it came out quite nice, because the front looks embellished and the back looks like a journaling card with that extra bit of lined paper on there. So I'm quite pleased with that. So that flaps in. Got a tall skinny here of textured paper. Plenty of room to play. This is another one of our napkin ones. So I've got 1, 2, 3 pockets in there. Love that. Bit of that blue denim on the back. And again, even on the bottom of that, there's room to play and add things. Simple tag there. Bit of offcut there that's got a bit of gold on it. Another one from those French papers, which I've just backed with tea. Backed with tea, you know what I mean. Plenty of room here to play. And a skinny tag popped into that. More of that toilet roll embossing, but that's stuck down as a big pocket across where the pages have been layered. So a tag in that one. Plenty of room here and here, top and bottom, to add more interest. Whole blank page here to play with, and in here to play with. This was the napkins. I've got 1, 2, 3 with the napkins, and a 4th one down here with one of the ones from Rachel's kit. So that I love that pattern, and I think it came in like a craft magazine. Some craft magazines have papers in them. So I had like 2 pieces of that out of the magazine. Another airmail envelope. One of Rachel's tags backed in pink. And a couple of small pieces of like proper handmade paper in there. And we got yes, I'm still on camera. Well done, me. That one's backed with ghost paper. And that was a random one from my stash. Lots of room here to play. Two more of those side tucks. I don't think no, I haven't back those. Oh, there's extra bits. There's extra backing bits in that folio anyway. So yeah, those two, I must have missed those. Look, again, more room to play here. Something could be attached to the bottom here. I didn't think of that. On those bottoms of those, I could have gone back and added some of that wider trim, lace. Or next time. One of those multiple napkin ones is, again, more of that textured paper with ghost on the back. And this, I think that's an offcut from one of Margaret's papers. Some handmade paper that's got gold little raised flecks on it. That's backed with a bit of random, what's that? Oh, that's like music, blank music paper. Blank music score paper. And then that one, little one in there. So another wallpaper tuck. Card in here. Plenty of room to play here. Plenty of room to play here. A whole page. And I leave my signatures in bows so that, you know, jewelry, embellishments and stuff can be attached, or they can be trimmed off. But if you trim them off, it can't be an option, isn't it? I really like that one. I can't remember if that's a kit or a freebie. Can't remember. Another tall, skinny one on that one. And a bit of that posh stationery. Place to play here. Another embossed one with a card on the back with ghost paper. Room to play here with that other tuxedo pockets in the back with the hidden writing space underneath. And there's room to play on this bit, and there's room to play there, and the back, depending on how much you want to play to make sure it tucks back in, or it can go live somewhere else. So lots of room there and there. Some room here to play. A tall, skinny out of that gorgeous print that I had out of the magazine that I've just backed with tea dyed paper. And our last little vignette from the album. And now this one I did do a little bit of jiggling in my software. So, because I had that piece, but I wanted her to fit. And I wanted her to fit inside the vignette. So I've just copied her and pasted it, stenciled the inside as a card. So as a card, it's not super thick. And it will go in with a little wiggle. There we go. But I think that frames her beautifully. And then in there, that was meant to go in that back pocket, but it's too wide. It won't stay. And the last sort of journaling card in there. So that then is my Faith and Grits. Creative minds are rarely tidy. I think it's a quote by Gardner. It's just got my email address on it and a bit about grits. For grits is an acronym for Girls Raised in the South. And I am an Alabama girl, raised in the South, living over here in the UK, but raised in the country with Southern standards. Know your roots, work hard for your money. Life is hard, put your big girl panties on and deal with it. Or put your big girl panties on and just do it. So that's sort of part of my logo. So grits, girls raised in the South. So, and this is my note from the bookmaker of where I've done my own take on explaining what this is meant to be as a muse book. I won't read it out. If somebody is interested, perhaps I'll share it. But I've printed this onto ghost paper. And then I've gone back through a wonky fold, threw a bit of extra gold on the top, and happy days. So I put a card for me. It's not a proper ATC card, which is something I've thought about going back and doing. But a note from the bookmaker always goes in. So that is Penelope, ready to go to her new home with a folio full of goodies. I'm getting stuck on this lace now. Folio full of goodies so that she can bring someone else creative joy and play and to be a treasure. So, and then this, of course, is our walkabout that I made for my first ever collab video for H and Bella. So the tassel, the keychain, the more this is shoved into a bag, honestly, the more that will relax. That may or may not survive, but if it doesn't, you find something even prettier to go on there, or you take that off and you hang something else from the hook. So the hook is removable on the back. And yes, so she's been filled up. Place for a bank card, tuck a bit of cash in there, throw a pin in there, put your house key on, and away you go. So that's just a quick flip through. The video's not long gone up for this. If you haven't seen it, please have a look. It's just an old mobile phone case. Someone commented on the video, also said, I wonder if you could do the same thing with a man's wallet. And I thought, ooh, there's an idea. So I've done it with like pocket diaries, old pocket diaries. So it's 2025. I've got a pocket diary in a drawer from 2022. I don't need that. I can rip the inside out and use the case. So anything can be turned into a journal with a bit of imagination. So yeah, it's and I had interest in chat with Steph as well. This would be a lovely idea to do as an art book, to take her on and just doodle in. And I'm seriously thinking about the idea of making myself up one now with cheap watercolor paper in it. But no, that's it. That is Penelope, ready to go to her new home, her walkabout companion, and a folio full of goodies and yummies for the new owner to play with. So thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you for all your support. If you like what you see here, please click subscribe, like, leave us a comment. And that's all for me now. Thank you ever so much for watching. Thank you to Rach and your team over at Rach and Bella. And thank you to Steph for all of your support and your encouragement. So take care, everyone. Hope to see you back soon. Bye for now.